Now, I don't mean to alarm you, but your legacy VPN is holding you and your company back. Slow connections, security concerns, performance issues, routing all of your VPN traffic through centralized, expensive, dedicated black box appliances, complicated on and offboarding procedures. These are just some of the many issues we've heard from our customers that they run into with legacy VPN solutions. In today's video, we're going to discuss why Tailscale might be the solution you've been looking for. As a mesh VPN product, Tailscale provides a fundamentally different approach to secure networking. Instead of tunneling all of your traffic through those centralized servers, Tailscale creates a secure mesh network where devices connect securely to each other using WireGuard encryption under the hood. It operates at layer 3 of the networking stack, bringing identity down to the networking layer itself, which means that you get enhanced security without sacrificing any performance at all. Tailscale also combines the security benefits of a VPN with the convenience of modern zero trust solutions, all without the traditional headaches of legacy VPNs. Now, we speak to a lot of customers about VPNs, and they're often very honest with us about the pain points that they have with traditional VPNs. Probably the biggest one that we hear, though, is performance. We're talking up to 10 times slower speeds with frustrating connection drops, especially when switching between networks, between your phone and Wi-Fi or on the train or something like that. Second, the overall management posture of these legacy solutions is a headache. Onboarding and offboarding users is often a time-consuming and complex process, especially given that they only have limited integrations with the more modern identity providers such as Okta and some of the other OIDC people that Tailscale support. And if you're managing certificates and keys, you know just how cumbersome that process can be. I recall a previous job, we had an Ansible playbook that managed who was allowed access via OpenVPN to AWS or not, and it was not uncommon to see people in that playbook who hadn't even worked for the company for 6 months. So I sat down with Chris Chang, who's our Director of New Business Sales here at Tailscale, and asked him what some of the most common pain points were about why people switch to Tailscale.
When enough employees are frustrated and they can't be productive and, do their work, that's the number one catalyst for folks looking for a new solution. And the reason why they have difficulties and these poor end user experiences is because a lot of the legacy VPNs, you're connecting to a central hub, and that adds more latency and decreases, throughput and performance for end users.
And as if all of that wasn't enough, finally, there's the security factor. Centralized servers create single points of failure, and many legacy solutions have limited mobile and Linux support, if they even have either of those things supported at all. And this weakens your overall security posture. This is what happens with legacy VPNs when you start adding layers of fixes to address various problems on top of layers of fixes to address various problems. Before you know it, you've created a complicated mess of VPN hubs and gateways and authentication layers and misconfigured firewalls. So how do you know it's time to switch to Tailscale? Well, your users will probably tell you. If you're constantly hearing complaints about VPN issues, of performance, of things not connecting first thing in the morning when everybody logs on all at once, that's often a big red flag. If you've experienced these things, you count as a user too, so you probably know. Now, the other thing to consider are things like compliance postures. We support things like SOC 2, ISO 27001, HIPAA, and PCI DSS. Your legacy VPN might support these things for now, but these specs are always changing, so it's worth keeping an eye on a modern solution like Tailscale that's going to allow you to scale your business with acquisitions and expand into new geographies and keep up with the regulatory compliance issues that can come with all of those minefields. Your old VPN probably wasn't designed for that kind of growth. And speaking of growth, I sat down with Rob Clark, an engineer over at CloudBees, the guys behind Jenkins, and asked him about why CloudBees made the switch to Tailscale.
That was largely around the performance. We have about 20 different GitHub organizations, and we managed successfully with OpenVPN to move one team and their organization. They had GitHub IP restrictions, and they had to use the VPN to use GitHub. We added a second team. At that point, the VPN server started to struggle, and obviously, we could put work into scaling that up and productionizing it and doing all those things. So I wouldn't say that it was a hard blocker, but it was basically a choice between using something else or doing that productionization work and making the OpenVPN server more of a first-class citizen within the systems that we operate.
Another common trigger that we see is folks migrating to the cloud or adding new features to products that just simply aren't compatible with these legacy solutions. They expose weaknesses in your current setup, both including technical and human. So this is where Tailscale enters the picture. Tailscale creates a modern network at layer 3, bringing identity and WireGuard encryption all the way down to the networking layer. Unlike traditional VPNs or even some competing zero trust tools that handle identity at layers 5, 6, or 7, Tailscale handles it at the network layer itself. And this is a fundamental difference as to why Tailscale is a future-proof next-generation VPN replacement solution. There are several major benefits from switching to Tailscale. The first is hassle-free setup. We provide a fast, seamless experience for end users that boosts productivity and minimizes shadow IT. Now, if you'd like to see a video on just how quick you can get started with Tailscale, we have a 10-minute getting started guide just up here for you. Our high-performance client is built on top of the secure WireGuard protocol underneath, which significantly reduces the implementation burden on our side. This means we can keep up to date more easily with security and regulatory requirements. Second is Tailscale's robust security posture. End-to-end encryption is the default for every single connection, and no infrastructure is exposed to the public internet. So just think about this for a second. You have a cell phone in your hand on the train, and you want to connect to a random piece of infrastructure in AWS behind several layers of VPS gateways and all that kind of security structure that's kind of between you and the thing you want to get to. You have a secure, direct, end-to-end encrypted connection between your phone and that piece of infrastructure. And that mesh network establishes itself between all of the different places that Tailscale can run. We have over 100 integrations spanning all the major hyperscaler cloud providers, all the way down to things like running Tailscale on a coffee machine. Yes, it is possible, technically at least. The third reason you should consider switching to Tailscale is our superior performance. It's easy to connect to anything regardless of location using Tailscale, and we streamline distributed workflows with software-based infrastructure-agnostic solutions that work seamlessly across offices, clouds, data centers, and all the major platforms. So let's talk for a moment about what secure access looks like with Tailscale. You can reduce infrastructure complexity by skipping things like bastion hosts and jump servers, by making secure direct connections to individual machines, as I mentioned earlier. You can automate access control and compliance by integrating with existing SSO providers, IDPs, IAC tools, and other GitOps-style workflows. You can also minimize your network's attack services by keeping as many firewall ports closed as possible, thanks to Tailscale's NAT traversal technology.
And that unlocks a lot of quality of life and ease of use benefits. I think the main thing that I'm realizing with Tailscale is the time to value is, unparalleled. You can install Tailscale on your laptop, and then in whatever network you're trying to access, and get connectivity, extremely quickly. That's actually the key thing that our founders are focused on, which is being the easiest way to connect two devices in the world seamlessly.
And we see real results with companies that are adopting Tailscale. Instacart's senior staff software engineer, Mike Deeks, said, "Because of Tailscale's simplicity, both in architecture and end-user experience, we can solve our acute problems quickly and easily." So Tailscale isn't just a VPN replacement, it's a path to ZTNA, or Zero Trust Network Access. So here's how Tailscale compares with legacy solutions. For management, whilst legacy solutions require large, costly, and complex enterprise-scale deployments, Tailscale's easy to get started with, even with a single person administering the platform. You can start small and scale out. For infrastructure, there's no vendor lock-in or seeding control. You manage your own edge network without needing to trust Tailscale or anyone else. For privacy, no more man-in-the-middle proxies breaking encryption. Tailscale provides end-to-end encryption built atop of WireGuard. And for deployment, you're not limited by gateways or edge-based deployment models. Tailscale is mesh-capable with an iterative deployment model, giving you ZTNA everywhere. So there you have it. If your legacy VPN is causing you more problems than it solves, it might be time to consider Tailscale. If you found this video helpful, welcome to the Tailscale YouTube channel. I'm Alex. There is a link down below to all of the resources you need to get started by reaching out to our sales team and bringing Tailscale to work at tailscale.com/BTW. If you'd like to see more content like this, you can subscribe to the channel down below, or indeed drop a comment and ask any questions you might have about making the switch from legacy VPNs to Tailscale. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I've been Alex from Tailscale.